Hi, I'm Michael, and this is Carelifornia. And in the Republican HEREOS Act proposal, there is a provision for $1,200 stimulus checks for Americans who are being affected by the lockdown and the pandemic. These checks can provide some additional financial stability and security during these economically shaky times. Additionally, this time around, the states will have all the mechanisms for getting their checks out in a quick and efficient manner at their disposal. But even with improved systems and experience from the last checks under their belts, not everyone is going to be eligible for the next $1,200 stimulus check. Your eligibility will still be based on your income, your tax household size, as well as your citizenship or immigration status. So this evening, we are going to discuss who is and is not eligible for the next round of proposed stimulus checks. Now, this is your 5-minute nightly dose. So let's make this quick. But before we do that, if you like this information, if you find it interesting, if you find it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. So in case you don't remember the first round of stimulus checks from the CARES Act, which really feels like 150 years ago by now, let's go over the basics of how the stimulus check eligibility worked and how it appears to have changed for this next round of stimulus checks. So the first is the income limits. The income limits actually have not changed at all. There was talk earlier by Mitch McConnell saying that they were going to focus on households who make $40,000 a year or less, but in this proposal, it has kept the income eligibility requirements at the same level as it was under the CARES Act. Now, for a single person, that means you have to make less than $75,000 a year to get the full $1,200 stimulus check. And that check will diminish for every dollar over $75,000 a single person earns in a year, up to $99,000. Now, for married couples without children, both people will actually still be eligible to get the $1,200 stimulus checks up to a maximum of $2,400 for their household, as long as their income is less than $150,000 a year. And again, those checks will continue to decrease for every dollar up to $198,000 a year in household income. And finally, income for a head of household filer with just one child cannot exceed $146,500. In addition to the $1,200 stimulus check, there is also additional $500 stimulus checks for each dependent in the tax household. For your income, the IRS will use the household income from taxes for 2019 to qualify for the stimulus check. But if your 2019 taxes have not yet been filed, it is possible to use income from your 2018 tax return. One other situation could be if your income for 2020 is going to be much lower than it was for 2019, which is unfortunately kind of the case for a lot of folks this year. So it will be possible to delay taking your stimulus check up front, and you can wait till you file your 2020 taxes with the lower income and receive the $1,200 stimulus money on your tax return for 2020. One of the other changes this time around, to avoid all the chaos that was caused by government entities like the Treasury Department, the Social Security Administration, the VA, not really being able to play well together, was in the HEREOS Act proposal, they explicitly give the Treasury Department the ability to work with the Social Security Administration, the VA, and the Railroad Retirement Board to get stimulus checks out to those retired Americans, veterans, and folks who are on disability who normally don't file their taxes but are still eligible for the $1,200 stimulus checks. Another big change that is being proposed in the HEREOS Act, which will make life much easier for families and caregivers, is the removal of the age limits for dependents. If you don't remember, in the last round of stimulus checks and this round, there are $500 stimulus checks for each person being claimed as a dependent in a household. So that could be children, family members, grandma, grandpa, etc. And each of these dependents will also receive a $500 stimulus check. But previously, in the CARES Act stimulus check, only dependents under the age of 17 were actually eligible to receive the checks. And this left out a lot of parents, grandparents, and college-age people who were claimed as dependents but were over the age of 17. But in this HEREOS Act proposal, this age limit has been removed, which will mean a lot more money for a lot more families if it passes. This has been your 5-minute nightly dose, and I hope that you found it interesting or helpful or at least useful. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we here at Carelifornia, we know health insurance. So if you have any questions about your health insurance, leave them down below. We'll be happy to make a new video or a new post for that as well. Now, other than that, I'm Michael, and this is Carelifornia, wishing you a happy, healthy day.